Good afternoon, Hoosiers. I'm Logan Kukowski.
And I'm Blair Wayman. Welcome to the Fast Five presented by the Indiana University Media School.
It was a big weekend for Hoosier athletics. Indiana's Fast Five starts now. This past weekend, the 8th-ranked Indiana Hoosiers had their biggest game of the year against last year's national champion, the Michigan Wolverines. In the first half, the Wolverines would strike first to make it a 3-0 game. The next drive, the Hoosiers' offense would march down the field, and it was capped off with a Curtis Rourke to Omar Cooper Jr. touchdown to gain the 7-3 lead. The Hoosiers would strike again with a 36-yard touchdown pass hauled in by Elijah Surratt to make it 14-3. The Hoosiers went into halftime with a 17-3 lead. In the second half, the offense could not find that same groove. The Wolverines continued to chip away and would make it a 17-15 game. Late in the fourth quarter, Hoosier kicker Nicholas Radicic would drill a 42-yard field goal to make it 20-15. The defense would get one last stop, and the Hoosiers would hang on for the 20-15 win. It wasn't pretty for the Hoosiers, but a win is a win, and they are now 10-0 for the first time in school history.
The Indiana men's basketball team gained another home win versus Eastern Illinois at Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall on Sunday afternoon. The Hoosiers trailed at halftime 37-36, but played a demanding second half to end the game 90-55. The Hoosiers defense held the Panthers to only 18 points in the second half, while IU received double-digit scoring performances from Renew, Ballo, and Rice. The Hoosiers play South Carolina in Bloomington on Saturday. Our very own Dylan Traeger has more.
Thank you, guys. Number 16, Indiana basketball will continue their homestand hosting South Carolina this Saturday. The matchup isn't familiar for either program as the two teams have faced off just 3 times. Indiana leads the series 2-1, defeating South Carolina in their last face-off on November 8th, 1998, 76-55. Indiana now enters the game 2-0 on the season, tasked with facing one of its true tests of a team. South Carolina will go into the matchup with a 2-1 record, suffering a heartbreaking loss on opening night to North Florida, 74-71. Following the loss, South Carolina grabbed victories over SC State and Towson. The Gamecocks have 4 players averaging double-digit points, with their biggest threat being Colin Murray Boyles, who put up 27 points and 9 rebounds in last night's 80-54 victory over Towson. Tip-off on Saturday is set for 3 p.m. Eastern Time from Assembly Hall. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Dylan. Last Thursday, the Indiana women's basketball team hosted the Harvard Crimson in Assembly Hall. It would turn out to be a very long afternoon for the Hoosiers. After the tip, Harvard gained big momentum from some strong defense and gained a 21-7 lead at the end of the first quarter. The second quarter looked a lot better for the Hoosiers as they outscored the Crimson 23-11 in the frame. The Hoosiers would head into halftime trailing 32-30. In the third quarter, each team would score 16 points and Harvard would hold on to that 2-point lead. In the fourth quarter, the two teams would go back and forth, changing leads 4 times. The game would end up going into overtime, where Harvard would pull away from the Hoosiers and win the game 72-68. Lily Meister gave it her all as she would finish with a double-double, 20 points and 15 rebounds. The Hoosiers would finish the game with 27 turnovers and are now 1-1 on the young season. The Hoosiers look to bounce back tonight as they head to historic Hinkle Fieldhouse to take on the Butler Bulldogs. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Then on Sunday, they will play the Stanford Cardinal from Assembly Hall. Tip-off is at 2 p.m.
The Indiana men's soccer team's 7-match winning streak ended in the quarterfinal round of the 2024 Big Ten men's soccer tournament, as number 6 Indiana fell to number 7 Michigan 1-0 last Thursday at SeaGeek Stadium. This is the first time since 2016 the Hoosiers will not make an appearance in the Big Ten tournament final. While the Hoosiers outshot the Wolverines 10-7, they could not get the ball in the net. At the half-hour mark, Indiana was hit with bad luck on both ends of the field, where a goal by Michigan allowed them to take the lead. The NCAA will announce its 48-team bracket on Monday, November 18th. The number 6 Indiana field hockey team took a tough overtime loss against number 3 Michigan in the first round of the Big Ten tournament last Thursday night in Maryland. Indiana's Sydney Keld would put the Hoosiers on the board during a penalty corner play, but the Hoosiers' fate was sealed when Michigan Wolverines' Esme Day-Willigan scored the game-winning goal in the 69th minute.
The Indiana volleyball team had 2 tough matches this past week. First, they hosted in-state rival, the 9th-ranked Purdue Boilermakers. Purdue would take set 1, 25-21, ending it on a 6-1 run. The Hoosiers would take the second set, 25-21, led by Avery Tatum and Cameron Hayworth. The final 2 sets would be taken by Purdue, and they would win it 3-1. Next, the Hoosiers would host the 20th ranked USC Trojans. The Trojans would need an extra point to win the first set 26-24. The second set would go to IU as they took it 25-17. Then the mistakes began to pile up for the Hoosiers. USC would take advantage and take the final 2 sets and win it 3-1. Next, the Hoosiers travel to Iowa City to face off with the Iowa Hawkeyes. After that, they will face the second-ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers from Lincoln, Nebraska.
IU sent 9 wrestlers to Michigan State this past weekend. 7 of the 9 wrestlers in the tournament placed. 165-pound freshman Chris Crawford finished first in the freshman-sophomore bracket after a 6-4 win in the final against Northwestern. The Hoosiers will take them out again on Friday, November 15th at Central Michigan.
And it looks like our 5 minutes are up. I'm Logan Kurkowski.
And I'm Blair Wayman. Thank you for joining us, and come back Monday for a recap of this week in Hoosier Athletics.